going, everyone? Welcome into the KREF High School Huddle. Connor Pasby, Grayson Singleton, alongside with you. Man, so much basketball to get to. We had regionals last week, gearing up for area this week, so we'll dive into all of that right here. And we start with the Edmond Memorial Girls Regional that we had last week. The Bulldogs ran through their regional with wins over Capitol Hill, 103-9. And then they defeated Putman City 62-41 to advance to the area undefeated. And Grayson, Edmond Memorial continues to look so impressive on both ends of the floor.
Well, look, as loaded as the girls' side of the slate is on the East and the West, you can't understate the importance of getting to area with no losses. Yep. And now you've got 2 games to win 1 to get to state. Look, they're impressive. The 2 girls we talk about almost every week, Janiah Williams, Avery Jelmstead leading the way. I love in a game where you score 103 and then followed up by scoring 62. That means you got contributions from everybody else. And I think the fact that this team is starting to come together in the supplementary parts really gives this team a really good chance to go to state.
And they're playing all-around basketball. Both of them combined for 40 points in one of their wins. The Mustang Regional that we had for the girls, Mustang advanced with a 61-34 win over Choctaw. So the Broncos will be matched up with PC North in area. We didn't get to cover that game, but we followed it along as it went on throughout the weekend. The PC North Regional, that's when things started to get interesting on the girls' side. A bit of a surprise with the Deer Creek Antlers. They were able to escape more in that 2-3 game, and Grayson, it came with a buzzer-beater off an inbounds pass. So how about the toughness and grit this Deer Creek team is showing on the girls' side?
I think they might be one of the biggest wild cards, girls or boys, in area this week. Very athletic. If they can play in the open floor, they can beat almost any team. They struggle sometimes when it comes to taking care of the basketball. So that's where you're going to have to see what you get from them on a day-to-day basis, whether or not they're going to take care of the ball. But in terms of athleticism, in terms of matching up size-wise, in terms of matching up speed-wise in the open floor, this is a team that can beat anybody. But day-to-day, those loose ends, they're going to have to make sure they keep tied up if they're going to advance.
So Deer Creek will play a win-or-go-home game against Choctaw in area. As we move on to the Norman Regional, man, we had some interesting games in that one. It was a game that went into overtime in the Norman Girls Regional, a crosstown clash that we had between Norman North and Norman High. The Tigers held off Norman North 61-53 in overtime, and they got great production from Halen Browning. She had 17 points and 8 steals. Here's what Halen Browning had to say after the win. With Halen Browning. Halen, first off, man, you guys really had to work for that. So how did that feel, come away with the win against your rival?
Yeah, it's always good to win a rivalry. It's a little more stressful than we wanted it to be, but we got the dub, so we finished the job.
You had 8 steals defensively. Talk about your effort and your effort as a team on the defensive end tonight.
Yeah, I think that going into it, that's what we knew we needed to do. We played them 3 times. I think we knew pressuring the ball was what we wanted to do and what they struggled with and what we excel on. So, yeah, I think that's definitely something that we wanted to do and we ended up doing.
Talk about the start of overtime. You guys got momentum early on in that overtime. You were able to score the first 2 buckets. So talk about what you guys did offensively in overtime.
Yeah, we wanted to stay calm, but we knew the first couple possessions were the most crucial points. So we really wanted to walk in and take care of the ball and really get the open shots that we wanted, and we did.
And Grayson, she continues to be a second option for the Tigers with all the attention Keeley Parks gets. So that's a huge boost for Norman to have a second option scoring the ball.
Yeah, and when I called Crosstown Clash with Andrew, preceding the regionals, she stepped up in that game as well, especially in the open floor where she can find spots on the perimeter to hit threes and just make herself an available target. She's a 3-level scorer. I love how she's emerged as the definitive number 2 offensively for this team, plays under control. This Norman team, I think I said this maybe a month ago, that I really was impressive about. What was really impressive about this Norman team is that they are so much more multi-dynamic offensively this year than I think they were a season ago, and that's come with a lot of growth from a lot of players too. That's why this team can win a game, maybe 2 or 3 in state because of players like her.
They're more deep from a year ago, and they got Addie Hibble back. That's been a big piece for them, especially what they do defensively.
And by the way, she looked good when she came back from the ACL. We didn't expect her to play this year, so you always wonder if you do push that timetable, how are they going to look? I thought she looked great. I think all boxes are checked just based on from my perspective.
And the 6A Girls West area matchups, they look like this. We have Putnam City versus Norman North. That will take place at Noble. PC North versus Mustang. That'll be at Noble as well. Deer Creek versus Choctaw. Winner go home, like we talked about. That is at Carl Albert. And the good one, the big one, Edmond Memorial versus Norman at Carl Albert. Grayson, that's a big matchup.
How fun is that game going to be?
Two of the 3 losses from Edmond Memorial came in the BOK Tournament of Champions. And for Norman, they still just have those 2 losses to PC North. And there's talent all over the floor with those 2 teams.
I mean, on the girls' side of the entire state area bracket, not just the games that we're covering here, that might be the game of the weekend between Edmond Memorial and Norman. I mean, you're talking about girls that we're going to see on Saturdays and in midweek games next week, or I guess Sundays for some. But no, there's a lot of talent here. I think there's gonna be a lot of points scored. I think both teams play well defensively, but I still think there is too much good shot making in that game between Norman and between Edmond Memorial for that's not to be a very competitive game.
And the Bigsby Regional, as we go, stick with the girls. Bigsby defeated Jinx to go 2-0 in their regional. They defeated the Trojans 54-43. This is on the east side. And the Edmond North Regional, the Huskies advanced with a dominant win over Union, 48-25. That now sets up an entertaining matchup with Bigsby and Edmond North matching up an area. Man, Bigsby has won 15 of the last 16 games. And on the other side for the Huskies, they have won 17 of the last 19. So there's 2 powerhouses, Grayson, going at it.
And Edmond North obviously has the pedigree preceding them of winning all those state tournaments up until last year. So you know this is a program that is used to winning, and they know how to win games and close out games this late in the season, which you cannot overstate how important that is at this particular time in a year. Bixby, I've said it before, I think they have the best starting 5. They have one of the best starting 5s in the state. And the way those starting 5 can switch defensively, the way they play in sync offensively together is going to make them a real problem. Edmond North has played the top of girls competition as tough as you can, the Broken Arrows of the world and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to this matchup. I'm not going to make a pick. I'm not going to do that on a show like this. But that is a really intriguing matchup up there with Norman and Edmond Memorial.
And we go to another one of the top teams in 6A, the Broken Arrow Lady Tigers and their regional. They fought off Westmore 48-39, maybe closer than people thought. So man, the Westmore Jags showing some fight for how young they are. The 2 Prestridge sisters on that team, they both provide a lot for them offensively, but man, that's a good sign if you're the Westmore Jags to play Broken Arrow that close.
Westmore, I think, has an identity, whether it's boys or girls basketball, that they're just going to scrap it out and play hard. And when you have that sort of an identity, no matter who you're playing against, you can beat them on any given night. On the Broken Arrow side of things, I mean, they've been coasting. They've been cruising throughout this entire season. And look, sometimes every once in a while you might get got, you might get close to getting got. And but good teams, even on those days where they get close to being had, they're able to close out a game and put a team away like Broken Arrow did by 9 points. So much to take away impressively for both of these teams.
So here's the 6A Girls East area matchups. Both these games being taking place at Henrietta. Jinx versus Union, Broken Arrow versus Owasso. And on the other side at Shawnee, it is Westmore versus Sapulpa and Bixby versus Edmond North. Some intriguing matchups there, Grayson. I think the one that stands out is that Bixby-Edmond North game.
I mean, again, you're talking about what has been dominating girls 6A basketball, which is Edmond North. I mean, they've done it on the boys' side too, and what could be coming with Bixby. 2 losses on the season, similar to Norman. So, and the games they have lost have been to elite competition. So I'm interested to see the coaching matchup. I think the coaching matchup is excellent. I think the players on the court are going to be excellent. And neither of those 2 teams, by the way, Bixby and Edmond North, they don't have that one D1 superstar like a Broken Arrow has, like a Norman has, like an Edmond Memorial has with 2 of them. They just have 2 really, they're 2 teams that can put 5 girls out there on the court that are going to be, as a group, some of the best 5 in the state.
As we move over to the boys' side, a little bit of drama with 6A boys in the West Regional. Norman North, we start there. them and PC North advanced to the regional championship, and it was the Panthers who came away with a 38-34 win. They go 2-0 in that regional, and Grayson, no surprise, that was a low-scoring dogfight all the way to the end.
It seems like the last couple of times we've seen Norman North on KREFsports.tv, they've been involved with dogfights. It was a fist fight against Norman to end the regular season that Norman North came up on the losing side of. I think Norman North has got to figure out a way to generate more buckets and generate more easy buckets too. Because even though they've got athletic guys, sizable athletic guys that can score the ball, they haven't really gotten anything easy against a team like a Putnam City North, like a Norman, in quite a while. So that to me is going to be their biggest key as they move on to the next round. But they can sure get in a stance and guard people, that's for sure. But you got to be able to generate easier offense.
And Grayson, you were at this one. The Deer Creek Regional on the boys' side, they defeated Choctaw 46-45, and it came down to free throws from Phoenix Woodson. And Grayson, what are your thoughts after that Deer Creek win?
Well, it's interesting what they did here because they don't do this often. Now, Deer Creek is a very good team in terms of taking care of the basketball. Mm-hmm. Choctaw is a very good team at taking away the basketball. Yeah. Deer Creek turned the ball over twice in that game, only twice against Choctaw. Against a team, by the way, in Choctaw that turned UConn over 15 times in the second half alone in their first game of that regional. So Deer Creek has a lot to hang its hat on. They're not shooting the ball from the outside very well, so that's what I'm going to look forward to when me and Blake call the game in Noble against Norman is can Deer Creek get better, do better shooting the ball from the outside. But Phoenix Woodson, I think he had a very impressive game. He focused that game on rebounding and defense, as he's going to tell me about in this interview right here that was postgame.
Woodson, fresh off of his 22-point night, along with 7 rebounds, joins us now. Hey, Phoenix, just coming off of the game where you didn't play in yesterday's game, what was your mindset going into play today?
Set the tone for the team and then make sure that we do everything that we need to do to come out with that dub.
This was your first time playing Choctaw, the first time you guys met. You didn't play. What about your game made the difference for Deer Creek here tonight?
I try to put an emphasis on rebounding and then trying to be strong in the paint, get those fouls that they were going to do every single time. Just be strong, make a physical presence in the paint so that way they have to bring attention to me.
Choctaw turned UConn over 20 times yesterday in that semifinal game that all of you guys sat up here and watched. You guys only turned the ball over twice tonight. What went into the level of ball security that you guys displayed tonight?
A lot of work in practice. We knew they were going to come out with that press a little bit, so we were ready for that. We knew they were jumping those gaps, so just being smart. We had some lapses, but, other than that, our guards and everybody else did a pretty good job moving that ball and just being smart.
Yeah, you came back to Deer Creek after being at Crossings Christian these last couple of years. What is coming back to this team meant to you, and now you guys get to win a regional championship?
Man, it's amazing. All these guys I really knew previously, so it's good just to get that chemistry back, and then getting a dub with them and getting this regionals championship is, it's fun as hell. So,
yeah, for sure. And you guys have an area game next weekend. By the way, we know your opponent. It's going to be Norman. Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead. Talk to me. How you feeling about that?
Our coach talked about it. He said they already played them twice, regional, area. We already played them twice, same place, same time. So we just got to come back there and bring it out with the intensity and same things that we did today. Just do it next week.
What's next week going to look like as you guys prepare for Friday night against the Tigers?
Man, just aggressive, working on this ball movement, a little bit of our weaknesses, in-game situations, stuff like that, just to prepare and just be ready for the worst.
Well, you guys' end of the game was fantastic here today. As you guys are regional champions, Phoenix,
sir.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So we move on to the Norman High Regional, a wild finish in the 2-3 game. You had Putnam City erase a 7-point deficit with 1 minute left in the game. Looked like Piedmont really had that game in the bag, so that's a tough one for Piedmont to swallow. Norman held off Putnam City 51-46, and that now sets up an area matchup between Norman and Deer Creek, and there will be a lot of eyeballs on that one, Grayson.
It will be a ton of fun, and you're talking about if you want to see some guard play. Go watch Deer Creek and Norman. Clyde Davis Jr., Caden Leach for Deer Creek. Bo Billingsley, Gideon Holt, the sharpshooter that he is for Norman. B.J. Randall is a very athletic 6'3" guard as well. So if you like guard play, come watch this game. If you like perimeter defense, come watch this game.
Come on down.
They have those are very two teams that are very good perimeter defensively. And if you like really solid bigs on the inside, that are traditional bigs too, the likes of Isaiah Amos, Phoenix Woodson can play with his back to the basket as well. This sets up to be an excellent game in regionals. And by the way, keep this in mind too. It's not going to be the last time you see these two teams.
No.
Neither team has lost in the postseason, which means they've got, again, 2 games to win 1 to go to state.
And it feels like they've seen each other a ton in the past years in the postseason. They'll get another matchup, first round in area, both of them undefeated.
I've got that note for you. They have played. They have now played each other 4 years in a row in area.
They're familiar with
these
each
two
other.
teams.
As we go to the Moore Regional, it was a battle of the Big Cats in the regional final. It was all Moore in that one, 69-45. So the Lions really ran through their regional. Roman Miller, once again, was the star of the show. Miller continues to put up big numbers on the offensive end. So here's what the West area matchups look like. Norman North versus Southmore, that will be at Noble. The series is split with them to 1-1. Norman versus Deer Creek at Noble. Putnam City versus Choctaw at Carl Albert. And PC North versus Moore at Carl Albert as well. Grayson, what about some of those matchups in area?
All of them.
Every single one.
All of them are really good. Moore's interesting against PC North.
Yeah.
Because Moore, I think, and this is how I think they beat Southmore, they've got big guards. Yeah. Tristan Hankins and Roman Miller are bigger guards. And I think that's going to present a problem for for a lot of teams, is the way that those two can operate scoring the basketball with their size. PC and Choctaw, 2 very scrappy teams that are going to try to get at it in the open court. Jaden Hopkins, I was really impressed with at Choctaw. Norman and Deer Creek, we just talked about that matchup and how fun we look forward to that being. And then Norman North and Southmore, that will be a game again that Norman North is going to have to try to get some easy offense. Southmore has a lot of size on the interior in their first 5. And, of course, they've got 2 guards that can score the basketball prolifically with Tyson Pogai and Colton Brammer. So if Norman's going to keep up with all of that, they've got to get some – Norman North, they're going to have to get some easy buckets.
And just looking at some of those games on the east side for the area boys, the Huskies of Edmond North, they went 2-0 in the regional at Union. They defeated them 61-58. And, man, Grayson, this is a good team that is playing great basketball in February and March.
Yeah, these are one of those teams that you just know is going to perform when it comes to February and March and this time of the season. Again, they know how to win games. They know how to close out late in games. They beat Union by 3 points. So they're already showing that they've got the state championship pedigree, and as long as they hang around or in the mix, they are going to be a hard out.
Just some other notes. Broken Arrow, they took care of business in their regional, defeating PC West 87-58. Sand Springs beat Westmore 61-53 in the regional final. So both those teams will advance in area. And we get to the East area matchups that we have. Jinx versus Westmore, that will be at Henrietta. Broken Arrow versus Edmond North at Henrietta. Broken Arrow leads that series 2-0, so Edmond North looking to bounce back. PC West versus Union, that'll be at Shawnee. And Owasso versus Sand Springs, that will also be at Shawnee. And some intriguing matchups there, too, Grayson, in the east side. We get to see the Westmore Jags looking to bounce back against a Jinx team.
Yeah, and that should be a fun matchup for them. The Barnard brothers can get it done from all. You talk about 3-level scores. There's your example of 3-level scores there with Westmore. What contributions are you going to get from the other guys? That's going to be the question. Broken Arrow and Edmond North. Here's what I will say. It is hard to beat a team 3 times in the same year, especially when you guys play in the district. So,
well, another thing, too, Edmond North played Broken Arrow a little bit closer in that second game. I believe it was all Broken Arrow in the first game, but Edmond North made it a lot closer. Exactly,
and especially when you know that, we've got some progress playing this team now, it makes you that much tougher to beat for a 3rd time.
Well, that'll do it for us. Connor Pasby, Grayson Singleton, the KREF High School Huddle. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. We got all kinds of coverage coming your way with area matchups, so should be a lot of fun on KREFsports.tv.